Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Richard Wygand, a dad on a mission with your Daily Core podcast. So, exactly 1 week from now, I'll be doing a rowing marathon. I done it, 18 Ironmans, 16 of them as a professional athlete, and I did a 24-hour paddleboarding. I did many runs, but this is completely different from me. And the reason I say that first of all, the pedalboarding and my last Ironman, I had a purpose. Like my last Ironman, I actually did the race dedicated to my son because I ran the whole time. He wasn't born yet, but I ran the whole time with his ultrasound on the bike and on me. But of course, on the swim, I couldn't use it, but I had him on the bike and on the run. But which is sounds interesting saying it now, and because I'm working on getting a bike. I had the design in my mind. How can it be done? So I'm talking to a few designers and people that understand how to build a bike to put him on. And then the funny thing is, I couldn't carry him his picture on the swim, and to carry him through our swim might be something really hard because of his machines. So he needs to have two machines. When we run, we need the suction machine on his mouth and trach, and we need the respiratory machine, the trilogy for Phillips that helps him breathe. So you know, and then thinking it now, I just thought about this. Is like it's funny because the Ironman that I dedicated for him, that was right when we found out that that we were pregnant, and that was probably like he was probably like a month and a half pregnant or something. So because the first time that we found out that we were pregnant, there was Ironman Cozumel, and I didn't finish the race because I went to some hydration issues. My water bottle broke, and I rode uh, too long with no water whatsoever on me. And you know how Cozumel it is, 90 degrees, humid, and sweating like crazy. So by the time I got to the post of the next water station, I was just completely dehydrated and done. So I then went back to Naples in the Hits Triathlon series. I did a race. I ended up winning the race. I actually dedicated that race for my son because I ran and biked with him, with the ultrasound with him. So that's what it gave me the strength. But because that was a hard race too. But it gave me the strength, and I dedicated him because I was kind of mad that I didn't finish in Cozumel. So I just needed to have some higher purpose to do the race. But so that's what I'm saying. Like I did a few things already for much bigger purpose, like the 24-hour paddleboarding and things like that. So this is gonna be actually my first rowing marathon, and the difference, I think, the big difference I see is like when you're outdoors and you're moving, you're seeing different things, you're seeing different people, and so those 3 to 4 hours just go by pretty quick. But on a rowing marathon, boy, we're gonna be sitting in the same spot for I hopefully I will do under 3.5 hours, but most likely, let's put it between 3 to 4 hours sitting in one spot. So this is gonna be very very different event for me, and it requires a lot of endurance. Um, and it's technically 70% legs, but uh, I use quite a bit of my upper body more than I would on a running race or or even on an Ironman. Like as you swim like crazy for about an hour, and then you jump in on the bike, and then you can kind of rest your arms and then you're gonna use your arms back again only on the run, but it's very very little comparing with rowing. So that's gonna be interesting, and you guys gonna be able to see my struggle live on Facebook and YouTube. Not only my struggle, but a few other guys that decided to do this crazy thing with me, and they also there is the group of people on the CrossFit gym that they're gonna do throughout the week. So basically, there is I think there is 4 teams of 4 that they're gonna do throughout the week. They have to do 40 to 195 meters. So basically, each person is gonna do about 10K in a little bit. There is another gym called Coda CrossFit here in Colorado that they already committed to joining us. They are building a team, and one of the trainers, I think he's gonna do the whole marathon for us. There's a lot more to come on that throughout the week. We're gonna know who actually is joining and how many teams total and all that stuff. But so it's gonna be a very different event. It's for me at least, it's gonna be a very different event. It's still endurance is what I know best. I'm trying to get stronger now with CrossFit, just because of my life itself. There's a lot of stuff to carry. We do probably about 60 squats a day with my son, lifting him up and things like that. So that's why I decided to become stronger, and also because I want to show to him that with dedication and with love, with my no surrender policy, we can achieve a lot more. And I want to show him that anything is possible in this life if you set your mind to. And I think he's getting the message so far, because that kid works really really hard, man. It's beautiful to see. Like, he have about 3 therapies a day, 3 therapies in average, 2 to 3 therapies a day. And boy, he works hard, and he's always with a smile in his face. So that's gonna be my next event. And then I actually received a few questions on how's gonna be my nutrition during this. How was my plan during the rolling marathon? So one thing that I started doing my last probably 5 Ironmans was to become a fat burner. For those who don't know, I was vegan for a while. I did a raw vegan stupid experience for it was a good experience because I learned a lot, but I did a raw vegan experience for about 2 years pretty much, raw vegan, and I was vegan for 3 years, and that screwed up my health. I followed 30 bananas a day like some people did it, and just caused me to get to insulin resistant and things like that. But the good side of it was I started to learn more about it, and I actually became a fat burner. So I switched my diet to more like a keto approach, and but I don't say that it's totally keto and not totally paleo. I created my own philosophy inside of what I learned with the raw vegan, vegetarian, keto, and paleo that I studied. So based on that, the last 5 years I've been doing, well, it's more than 5 years, but the last 5 Ironmans I started to use this approach. And because my first Ironmans, I was having what the most nutritionists gonna tell you, that you need 200 to 400 calories an hour. And that was just like a stomach disaster, performance disaster. I puked my brains out. My body couldn't handle a cramp and this and that. So the last 5 Ironmans, I switched to more fat burning approach, and I started to mix everything that I learned as a vegan, as a raw vegan, as a paleo, and a strict keto. Um, I started to I created my own philosophy in nutrition, and it's been working great. You know, the last 5 Ironmans, I think, like, I cut my times. I didn't have any problems mentally and physically. I was just there, and it works pretty well. And this is what I'm gonna do with the rowing marathon. So actually, my one of the guys who helped me on that was Peter Duffy, I think. If you listen to this, Peter, I'm sorry if I misspell it or if I missay your name, but so I think he's the owner of the Vespa Power. So I've been using Vespa for my last Ironman was 2016. So the last 5 Ironmans, it's probably 2014. 2013, 2014, I started to use Vespa again because I tried before back in 2012, but I was vegan at that time, so I didn't want to really. I tested, but my nutrition wasn't there to do it. So, I'm gonna use the Vespa because Vespa actually helps you burn fat as fuel, and I still don't know. I plan on use 2 Vespas. The Vespa had very little calories. It's only 18 calories, and I might have a gel in between, which is about 100 calories, but I'm not sure about that yet because it's kind of crazy to say, but it's just a marathon. You know, I'm not gonna bike before, and I'm not gonna swim before, so I don't think I need a whole lot of calories. I'm gonna have a gel there just in case. But I gotta put Camelback with my water and salt, and something that I use it on my Ironmans that works great is baking soda. So usually what I do, and that's one thing my son does it too. When we change his diet, his dietitian, which is specialist on rare diseases, she actually suggests for him to take water with sea salt, Himalayan sea salt, and baking soda. And when I told her, like, listen, I've been doing this in Ironman for years now, and it works great. She said, like, yeah, it's one of the best things to stay hydrated. So on my Camelback, it's gonna have water with Himalayan sea salt and baking soda, and I'm gonna use 1 Vespa about 45 minutes before. Then I'm gonna have either a gel. Depends on how I feel. I didn't need anything besides hydration during my 35 meters, 35,000 meters rowing last week. So I don't think I'm gonna need a whole lot of calories. I think Vespa is just gonna do it, the process, and plus I have enough fat on my body to be burning for 3 hours and a half. So that's going to be my approach in terms of nutrition for the whole rowing marathon. I'm gonna use Vespa right at the beginning. I'm gonna go with no breakfast. My last 3 Ironmans, I didn't use breakfast. I perform better when I'm empty stomach. My body's not worried about digesting or anything like that. So that's the least of my concerns. And so no breakfast, Vespa a little bit before, then a gel if I think it's needed. I don't think it will be needed, but I'm just gonna have her in there just in case. And hydration, that's all I'm gonna need. And it's I tell everybody, and the funny thing is, was probably 2015 when I went to my first CrossFit gym. I was still training for Ironman. I went there, and then I told what I do for nutrition, and I remember the guy over there looked at me and he said, there's no way any athlete in the world can do that. I was like, dude, I've been doing for 2 Ironmans on that time already. I did for 3 more Ironmans afterwards. and I did for my pedalboarding challenge, with the 24-hour pedalboarding challenge. I did. I'm doing for the Roaring Marathon now. I did for many other running races. So there is possible. There's not much need for carbohydrates. I like to use what I call, and this is I learned it with Peter. It's the strategic carbs. So you put carbs when you need it, and you just, it's just like, honestly, when you're burning fat as fuel and a high intensity like that, and then you throw some carbs, it's just like throwing gasoline on fire, and it just kicks it in your fat burning like crazy. It's such a good thing. And but you need very little. So that's why my last 5 Ironmans, I was at 60 calories an hour. If you divided everything that I took, 60 calories an hour, it's nothing. And it's, honestly, it's what, less than 25% of the recommendation for Ironman. I don't know if Ironman changed it, but if you look at their website, it's still gonna say that you need 200 to 400 calories an hour. At least the last time I looked at it, that was probably like 2 years ago. That's what it says in there, that recommendation nutrition, and the faster you want to go, the more carbs you need, and this and this. And the reality is, if you want to perform, the better you want to perform, the less you actually need. Because I explain to everybody, is the last thing your body wants to do is digest something when you're going that crazy. Like you biking like crazy, or you rowing, or whatever you're doing. Like your body is more concentrated in putting blood to the muscles being used, making sure that your metabolic is stable, and not digesting anything. So you actually need very, very, very little. And that's been my experience. Like I said, I tried many diets, from vegan, vegetarian, keto, paleo, and then I created my own philosophy in there, which works like crazy. And for a while I didn't actually, after my son was born, for a while I actually didn't follow that. I was so stressed out that I started, because this is actually the stress management. It's something that I added later on, because when I was an athlete and I didn't have a kid, my stress levels were way less. Like now I have a whole lot of different different responsibilities, and so I had to add the stress management there. But I was so stressed during the hostel times, and going back home for the first time and all that I'm a stress eater, so I started to eat back again, and I started to eat like crappy foods like cookies and stuff. So I gained 50 pounds, and then now I just lost it again, because I went back to my philosophy of eating. And once I went back, and then I said, like, listen, I gotta throw something else in it to that we can talk about later a little bit more in deep, how I manage stress. But I throw it in the stress management part a lot stronger, in a lot heavier in that sense. So that's what I'm gonna do on the marathon. It's super simple. I just gonna have Vespa, a little bit of gel if needed, hydration with Himalayan sea salt and baking soda, right back on my Camelback, and then we're gonna hope for the best. Hopefully I don't go over 3 hours and 30 minutes, but like I said, this is totally new sport for me. It's totally new movements, new muscles. And to be honest, like we had this idea not long ago, so it's not like we had a whole lot of time to train and focus on that, but I think it's very doable. And with definitely the nutrition will make a huge difference in my performance. Uh, and people ask me sometimes like, you didn't eat breakfast before an Ironman? I'm like, nope. I went cold turkey, empty stomach. I had a good dinner the night before with steak and sweet potatoes, and that was it. No stomach issues, no crash, no bonking, nothing. Um, and this is, like I said, this is something I developed over the times. My philosophy of nutrition for sports performance nutrition, which is there's an ebook coming up pretty soon. I'm almost done, but the what I developed, it's exactly, like, it's simple. It's more like on the keto side if you think about it, and the paleo side too. But I mixed a lot of the things that I learned as a vegan and a raw vegan and all that stuff to create a way that you bonk no more. Because I actually, my first Ironman was a disaster. Then second one was a little bit better, but I was always like dehydrating big time. I was always like getting sick to my stomach, and I didn't know what the hell was going on. And then I tried to rule out the things that I was taking and all that stuff. And it's been like a big journey for me. Like almost, I've been in endurance sports since 2004. Actually, yeah, 2005 was actually my first race as was 2005 or it was 2004? It was 2005. No, 2000. Sorry, 2005 was my first Ironman, and then 2004 was actually my first endurance race, which was a half Ironman. That was my first race ever. But I noticed that the longer you go, uh, the more careful you need to be with nutrition. The thing is, if you do want to perform, you need to have good nutrition, period. Like, if you're looking for performance, having a bad diet is not going to take you anywhere. But the longer you go, the more that nutrition is going to show up and appears in, like, listen, you need to focus on your nutrition. And that's exactly what I did, for 12 years racing. A lot of the time I was trying to figure it out what the hell was going on. And the vegan actually helped me for a little bit, because the way I see it is like, I just went whole foods. When I became vegan, I went like, all I was eating, I cut it out, like pasta, bread, and a lot of stuff. I was just like pure plant-based, which it worked for a little while, but then after that it was horrible. And thinking that I was like, okay, maybe I need to upgrade, I went to raw vegan, which was another set of metabolic issues. And I remember, as a raw vegan, I didn't finish any Ironman. I actually, one Ironman, I got hurt the day before, and then the other two Ironmans, I actually bonked so bad on the bike that I couldn't go any further. So after that, that's when I started to change a little bit of my approach on nutrition, and started to learn a little bit more about fat burning. And that's what exactly I did, and I developed this whole program, and this whole ideal that works pretty well. So, and to have an idea, like, people like to talk about being fasted, like, with no eating and exercising. And I must say, like, I'm a big fan of exercising on the fasting state. You perform way better. To have an idea, yesterday I went to this Coda CrossFit, and I PR on my bench press, which it's not very impressive, but for me it's pretty impressive, especially because yesterday I did 175 pounds, and the last time I tried to do something like that, I was at 145 pounds, I think, and that was like about 2 months ago. But what I'm trying to say is, I went there on a fasting state. I actually woke up and I didn't eat anything until the class. I did the class. I PR on that, which for me was pretty big. PR, like I said, it's not very impressive for any CrossFit guys or weightlifters out there. But for me, coming from endurance, like it's a big deal. And to have an idea, I remember the day that I started to incorporate more weight training to my training schedule. I took the bar to do chest. I took the bar plus like 10 pounds on each side, and which makes it 65 pounds. And I did 3 sets of 6, and I was done. And the next day I was so sore. To swim was so hard. So if you think about it, from 2012 like that to be able to, I started CrossFit back in June of this year. So I started the day before my birthday, and so I started I started June, and I'm already lifting 175 pounds, and again with no breakfast, and burning fat as fuel with my one own philosophy of nutrition, which is somewhere in between keto, paleo, vegan and raw vegan, vegetarian. So it's right there in the middle. And so this is it, like, most important thing is to burn fat as fuel. Like I said, what it's my focus on this rowing marathon is to make sure that I don't fail metabolic. So by that means making sure that I'm not eating a whole lot. I'm having just enough, and I'm ready to rock and roll. So I gonna go empty stomach, one Vesper right before, about 40 minutes before the goal time, and then I just gonna have a gel there just in case. I might take it, I might not, because I actually want to try to perform a little bit better. So I might take the gel just in case, because I want to go faster than my training, and that's another thing that I want to talk about maybe tomorrow on about training for long distance. But that's the most important thing. I just want to make sure that I don't fail metabolically, and I go a little bit faster than I train for, even though I didn't train much. So the gel is gonna be there, but hydration, Himalayan sea salt, baking soda on my backpack, Vesper before, a gel maybe in the middle, and then after 2 hours for sure I'm gonna take another Vesper. That's for sure. So it's gonna be one Vesper before and one Vesper with about 2 hours of rowing, and then sometime in between I might put a gel or not. But simple as it is, burning fat as fuel. You don't need a whole lot. Just make sure that your body does the work, putting all the blood, all the energy into the muscles and not digesting. So this is gonna be cool. I hope you check it out online. It's gonna be December 12th, exactly 1 week from today. December 12th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. At least we hope to finish before that, to 3 p.m. Mountain time, and it's gonna be at CrossFit Perfectus. During that week, if there is any gym out there that wants to do it, they can join it. Just check it out on my website. Go look Wygand.foundation. Check it out. You can join it. You can create a team. Just roll during that week. You don't need to do a relay with your team together. It doesn't need to be on Wednesday. Just need to be during that week. You do 42,145 meters for Nema Myopathy awareness. Thank you guys, and I see you tomorrow with another daily core. And this is Richard Wygand, a dad on a mission.